Hi, Thomas.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. What about you guys?
Oh, can't complain. Please tell us what you have discovered about the update.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
boy.
very confusing.
There is a lot, and I didn't discover it all myself, of course. I had a lot of help from people in the Discord and my friends and my club mates, and it's been a very thorough process, but I think I have it down, and I would love to share with you guys.
Yes, please. We can't wait.
All right. Well, to start us off, I am going to start with bloodlines. So, as we all know, our horses came from somewhere, whether it is a market, a breeding, or a pull, summons, etc., whatever else I said. Anyways, the horse that I am going to showcase for now is going to be my very own Darkengale. And why I'm going to showcase this horse is because this horse was bred to older horses, like before the update, and newer horses after the update. And with the new patch that came out, we actually can now see the horses before the update also, which I really do appreciate. So we're going to go ahead and click on the...
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to click on the Bloodlines tab so we can go ahead and get an idea of what we're looking at. So here we have Darkengale, and currently she is the main focus in this screen. She is completely purebred, just because all legacy horses are mostly purebred, besides specific fantasies, for example, like Pegasus, which is like 50% Pegasus and 50% like Frisian, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are going to start with going back on the timeline, and we're going to start with Nightmare right there at the bottom left. That horse is one of my friend's horses, and it is silhouetted because I do not have the data for that. And unfortunately, the game will not give us the data for that, but we can hope in the future that they may. Either way,
Yes.
I did borrow a friend's horse, and so any horses that are not your own or you no longer own will show up as a silhouette with just a name and no information past that, which is really unfortunate. It doesn't even tell you where it comes from, but that's okay. If you mostly just breed your own horses, it will give you a little bit of a fuller screen. So we're going to go ahead and go back one, and here we have a little bit more to go off of. Our parent is still gone. But the other horse that we have is our own, and I bred this horse 12 times in order to get the Darkengale that I wanted. So we can actually click on the 12.
Yeah, I love that. And the horses' names and everything.
And we can actually see where these horses are and which ones were bred with this specific combination to make these horses, which is very cool.
Okay, how did you get to this now to show only the horses that she bred?
So right at the bottom of the offspring, it'll say 12, which says view all. You can press that and it will show you.
Okay, great.
And we can actually click on any of these horses and it'll show us the bloodline past that, which is very nice.
That's amazing.
And we can go back very far as the breeding goes. And here's some of my own horses, so you can actually see both parents now. And so on and so on until we get to either a market or whatever breeding it came from. And if you see these question marks, it just means it came from the market or some other means. So it says, unknown parent, you acquired the child horse from an auction house. And so that's where
so it could also be in a chest or a summons.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, let's go back.
So cool. I love it.
It's very cool, and I actually really do like it because you can kind of track down exactly what horses you used instead of guessing most of the time.
Yes.
And now we are going to go forward in the bloodlines. So, from Darkengale, I bred 2 horses, one which was an Arabian and one which was the Mustang, and I got my first crossbreed. Now, this horse is 50% Mustang and 50% Arabian because of the crossed genetics. And because it is a crossbreed, it actually got its first genetic trait, which is the all-rounder trait. And basically, every time you make a crossbreed, it has a chance of getting that trait. And if you happen to have 2 horses with 2 different types of traits and you breed them together, you can either get either or happen to get a completely random one. So from there, I went ahead and bred this horse to two Arabians because I kind of wanted to get that Arabian mastery up. And so I did. And you can now notice that the genes are 75% Arabian and 25% Mustang. And if you breed it one more time to another Arabian, those genes will be high enough that it will regain its purity. And by doing so, it gives the horse a new purebred trait. So now you have two traits, one which is a crossbreed and one which is a purebred. So that's kind of how the traits work together in the genetic changes and whatnot. So we're going to go back to this horse right here, and we're actually going to go ahead and look at the overview. So this horse, how I ended up getting it was with a few set of potions. One, I had a pattern potion, so I was 100% going to get the Gale pattern. Two, I had a coat potion, which gave me the Dark and Gale's coat, like the colors. And then three, I had a spectral potion, which gave me the kind of ghostly traits. And that just confirmed that I would get that type of horse.
Okay.
And that is basically the bloodline for these specific ones. So as you can see that it is possible to regain purity even if your horse is a crossbreed, and you will get those double trait ups. And
that is very interesting.
Cool.
Going back to the bloodlines, now that we know what the bloodlines do, or like kind of show you what you're working with, you can actually now be able to know more specifically of what horse you are going to be getting. And what I mean by that is that if we go to the breeding tab and we select one of these crosses, for example, the Mustang cross that we had originally, this one, if we were to breed it to any horse that is not a Mustang or an Arabian, we are guaranteed to get that specific horse. So these two horses together will be a Clydesdale. And the reason for that is because the Clydesdale is 100% Clydesdale, giving it a 50% gene dominance.
Okay, because it's a purebred. Okay.
Yep. Meaning that now we do not have to rely on 5-star breedings to keep 5 stars in the breed. So what this means for us is that we no longer have to spend more gems in order to get the specific things that we want, as long as we know how genes work. So as we can see, we have 50% Mustang, 50% Arabian, and that means that the baby will have 25% of both of those traits and 50% Clydesdale. So it's going to be a Clydesdale no matter what if I breed this to that. Now where it gets a little bit more... Permanent. Yeah, and where it gets a little bit more complicated is when you have multiple crossbreeds, which, as you can see, the Arabian trait is much higher in this one because both horses have the Arabian trait, meaning that you are going to get an Arabian.
Yeah.
And the only time that you are going to have a 50-50 is if you have two purebreds against each other, which would be like this. So now we have two possible outcomes. You're either going to get a Frisian or you're going to get a Clydesdale. There's no in between. It is 100% just gotcha system. So you won't know what you're going to get because they are both purebreeds. It's both of the genes fighting each other in order to figure that out.
Okay.
And the only time that this is not going to be the case for purebreds is if you are breeding a specific combination, for example, an Arabian to a quarter, you will be 100% getting a Korab, which is like in between the two. So this counts for fantasy breeding too, is if there is a possible combination you will 100% get that specific horse for that combination. For example, if you were to do a Night Glow, I guess I need a space in that. If you do a Night Glow to a Vulcan, you are 100% going to get an Ember Glow because that is a possible combination. However, if you were to do a Night Glow to a Shroud, you now have a 50-50 chance of getting either or.
Yeah.
And what this means is now horses that you do not have mastery for, you can breed them to almost anything and get your mastery up through that means of a 50-50 shot.
Yes.
So,
Because you just could be lucky, yes.
So I don't have a bunch of Maelstorms. So I could do a Maelstorm, and I don't have enough of the Aratiris. So I could do a 50-50 here. Or no, I guess I can't because it does have a possible combination. So it wouldn't count for this. But if I bring the Shroud back in, I would have a 50-50 of raising my Maelstorm what's it called? Mastery.
Yeah.
So as long as you know what you are dealing with genes, you could almost do anything now, which is actually very cool and very nice because there are a couple of limited horses that came out when the game first released, and those horses were taken out and never brought back. So those players never will have mastery again for that. However, this update has now made it possible for them to add mastery to those horses so they can complete their collection, even though those horses will probably never come back.
Yes, that is very cool.
So it is very nice in that case that we can pull a horse from the market, and now we do not have to rely on pulling that horse again, ever again.
Yes.
And I think that is mostly it for the Bloodlines, unless I missed something. Oh, right. There is one thing that I do not know too much about, but I can talk a little bit about. And that is the, if you go to the overview of one of the horses, I forgot what horse I had. There we go. This one. If we go to the overview with it having 2 of these traits, and we were to go to the parent, you notice that there are 3 slots here. However, the horse that I am growing right now, the foal, will actually have 2 of those slots filled. And if you are wondering what the 3rd slot is, that is for prestiging. And the only time that you will get a prestige is if you happen to get that 5% chance, a very small chance, that your horse might get one of these prestige traits. It's very rare. I know about 2 or 3 people that got them. And once you have it, you kind of can just give it to all the horses. However, this prestige trait cannot be obtained through co-breeding. So if you breed to somebody's horses, or somebody's horse with a prestige trait, you will not obtain that trait.
Yes.
So it's very unfortunate in that case. However, once you do have one of these prestige traits, you will be able to just give it to all the rest of your foals, and then you'll eventually be able to level it up, no problem.
Okay.
Cool.
Unfortunately, though, some of these prestige traits are a little bit, how would I say it? I don't want to say pay to win, but it's kind of pay to win. Some of these traits do give the scores of like 80 plus on a jump, for example, right there. That isn't great. Because it could have a huge impact on events within the game, which is going to make things very difficult for other people or people that have already leveled their horses up and put thousands of hours into just getting their stuff situated. This update could really mess with that.
Yes.
But we'll talk more about traits a little bit later. So we now have potions.
Yeah.
So I'm a little iffy on the potions. On one hand, these potions can guarantee coats and colors, hairstyles, and more. But on the other hand, these potions also are kind of expensive. And then they also give flourishes, meaning that you won't need certain fantasies. And in some cases, this could be a good thing for people that don't have fantasies, but in other cases, there are a lot of people that spent a lot of money, a lot of gems to breed their fantasies to Aesir's and then their Aesir's to their normal horses. And that was a whole process that these potions now completely get rid of, which could be a good thing. But
you cannot crossbreed with these flourished horses. But with the Aesir horses, you can still crossbreed.
And the other thing is, in the experiment that we did, we saw that it's actually not guaranteed, the potions.
Yeah.
Because that horse potion that I used did not work.
Did you have...
The pattern potion did not give the pattern.
Yes, the pattern potion didn't give the pattern. That's right.
Well, that's concerning.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's definitely not guaranteed.
Okay, well, this is new information. I did actually notice that certain horses do not give their coats, though, even after, and this is mostly with the cases of, like, horses that are a little complicated. For example, like, if you are familiar with Phantom of the Mocha, which is Overlord Granny's horse, it is basically a blue roan, except its face is more of like a red roan, and its like feet also. That horse has never given its coat. Maybe like once out of 200 plus horses has it ever given its coat. And with a pattern and a coat color potion, it does not give its coat. So I don't know if it's like just the case of that happening. However, these potions should guarantee these things. However, some of them don't seem to be doing what we expect them to do. I personally have used a Wild Flourishes potion with a already spectral horse, and it did not really give any Wild Flourishes. It just gave more spectral stuff. And that specific horse, I think, was my wild card horse. Let me pull it up real quick. This one, which it did give kind of an ice glow tail, which was a little weird. And I mean, it does have purple eyes, so it's kind of wild, but also these are all still haunted flourishes, except maybe the eyes, which was a little weird. But in the case of the pattern flourish, the patterns did work. I was able to get a gale, no issues, which was this one with the haunted flourishes. And in some cases, the flourish potions, I feel like they don't give nearly as many flourishes as a normal fantasy Aesir breeding would give. I feel like it's a bit limited, but I'm not sure because I haven't done a whole lot with it, and I've only used like 2 potions in that regards, and it's been a little bit like lacking.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if like this just might be because it's not intended to work that way. But for example, like some of my Aesirs, you can see how many flourishes they got from these potions, or not the potions, from just breeding in general.
Yeah.
Versus like the ones that are just like the potion based. And I bred those to like Pegasus, I think. Let me see. Yeah. But they did kind of just give 2 flourishes to each, basically the same horses. So I'm not sure how I feel about flourishes being put into potions because of just how much work it takes to really get a fantasy, breed that fantasy, get an Aesir, breed the fantasy to an Aesir, and then breed it to a normal horse. And because that process was so much work, so much money, etc., it kind of feels like we're getting a little stomped on. Like, here's some potions that you can do all that, except it's cheaper, and all the stuff that you've done before doesn't matter. It's easier now, which is also, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. it's hard to be happy about it because of it. But
It's good for the free to play players and players that haven't done a lot of summons,
absolutely,
but it's not good for the more veteran players who have been doing all those things,
absolutely.
breeding and doing pulls and summons.
And
Yeah,
I know a friend that has done over 50 breedings to get a specific coat on a specific horse. And not to mention, it was alicorns, so it was super expensive just to get
goodness.
this
Yes.
specific horse. And when they finally got it, they had over 50 alicorns or failed breedings that just didn't get what they wanted. And this update basically made it so if they have the right potions, they can do it in one breeding, no issues. Which,
If the potion works.
if the potion works.
Yeah.
I mean, so far they've been pretty good for me. But again, it's just a matter of testing. A lot of times when they drop updates like this, we, the players, have to test everything out ourselves. They give us no answers. They just throw this stuff out and expect us to do everything we can to understand how everything works. And I don't necessarily love it because it's a lot of money. It's a lot of FOMO for anybody that does have the ability to participate in these updates. And it's another breeding update, which breeding updates, as we know, are expensive. And they are encouraging doing all these new systems that cost gems that we just physically cannot get through normal means. Like, we're either saving for months on months just to do one breed or two or three, and we're just stuck in a place where once we do those, we feel a little unsatisfied because sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yes, definitely.
Most times it doesn't work out. Not sometimes, most times.
Yes.
But in terms of the potions, I do think that it is nice that we can narrow our attempts down a little bit. So like we won't have to do 20 breeds just to get one specific horse that we want. And we can narrow it down to 1 to 5 based on whether we have these potions or not. However, these potions can now be earned through racing, club rewards. We can get them through photo contest voting, and so on and so on.
That,
which is very nice. The daily logins. Absolutely. And we can also earn breeding tokens on top of that, which means that it might be just a little bit easier to enjoy the potions update because we can earn those through normal means versus like not having access to it at all. Like with breeding tokens, before they added this update, we had to buy them or like send them to friends, right? Those are our two options. If we buy them or we can send them to friends. And the breeding tokens are actually kind of expensive. Like the only time it's ever worth it is if you're getting a 1 breeding token at a time, because the 4-star 4-star breeding is 1,050 gems or something for VIP, and you're getting 50 gems off. And them finally adding it to club rewards and racing rewards, I honestly think is a very good step in the right direction, because it feels like we might have more of a chance of getting something we want. Also,
instead of getting just a 4-star horse,
and in place of that,
token and breed for something that you want.
Absolutely, and you can save them up if you wanted something better versus a 4-star. But also with these tokens, they actually remove the 4-stars from like the club rewards, which means we can no longer get 4-star horses, which is very nice. I actually do like that a lot, because there's been so many times that we have gotten top 10 and whatnot, and we would end up with a 4-star horse, and it was just so not great. But now that we will get a breeding token instead, it feels a little bit more rewarding.
Yes. Yeah. No, totally agree.
And then with that, we can check out the potions tab a little bit if I remember how to get there. We're just going to pick a random horse with another random horse. And we're going to check out the potions. So I do not have a whole lot of potions right now. However, for the sake of science, we're going to pull for 3 chests of potions. Because
Good luck.
we got to learn how this works.
Yeah, you don't really have to do this, Thomas.
I want to do it because I really want to get a patterns potion. And I already invested the gems to do so. So we're going to do it.
Good luck.
So, first off, it's 4 potions for 600 gems. I swear, when this update dropped, it was 4 potions for 300 gems, and that price changed. I'm sure I can find an image of that somewhere. I know I saw it.
Though.
It is quite expensive, and here's the thing, is that we have 3 or 4 categories of potions. First off, we have the personality category, which will give you any of the horse's personalities. And then we have the flourish category, which will give flourishes or take away flourishes. And then we have the XP prestige category. And then we have the cosmetic category, which will give like coat colors, etc., etc. So, is it worth using 600 gems for 4 potions? And what are the chances of that? Not great, to be honest.
No.
For the personality, it's a 23% chance of getting a personality potion, which isn't great.
Much less.
Yeah. And for getting like the flourishes or the cosmetic based ones, it will be a 15% chance. And then getting the I don't know what the compound of progress, fortune, or power are. I think those might be prestige. Yeah, those are prestige based ones. And then the specific flourish-based ones are also in that 5% category. So we're going to pull for them 3 times, and we're going to see whether it's worth it or not, just for the sake of science. And
that's very expensive.
It is very expensive.
You sure you want to do that?
Yes, I am sure. It is for the sake of science. So, here we go. Here's what I get in the first one. Okay. So we got 2 of the 23% ones, and then we got fiery flourishes. So that's for like volcanic, Vulcan. And we got the many horns potion.
Okay.
All right. And that means that I got 1 more double up, which is fine, but we have a little bit more to work with. We're going to do it again. And we got another compound of power.
Prestige. Wow.
We got 2 personality ones again, and a frozen flourishes one. All right, so we have enough for 1 more. Oh
wow, you got another prestige.
I think this is the coat color one. Yeah, so now I can confirm that I will get the coat color of whatever horse I am going to get, which is a good one to have if you are trying to get a specific color combination without accidentally getting one or the other. And then I think that's many horns again. I don't know why I keep getting the many horns one. And then the prestige
I know you
one.
like the horns.
Of course. The compound of fortune. So this is the plus 5% chance of gaining a prestige trait, which adds on to when we get to the trait section. I will explain exactly what this potion does. But for now, I don't know if that was really worth it. Like, how do you guys feel about that? For 1,800 gems, do you feel like those gems were worth it?
At least you got 2 compound potions.
I did.
But still, I mean, it's expensive. 1,800 gems is very, very expensive.
It is very expensive. I feel like it's too expensive. I feel like it needs to go down.
It is too expensive. Yeah, it's definitely too expensive.
I personally think I was quite lucky, and I only got 5 of those potions. So it's at least 600 gems of those were personality based ones. But I do think that I was quite lucky in getting 2 of the 5-star potions. And
definitely.
Even like the coat color is one of the potions that I did want to get. So it's good I got that. However, I did not get a pattern potion, which is a little saddening, but that's okay. That will be a adventure for later, and I might get it through club chests. Hopefully, that would be
Yes.
nice.
We'll
A
hold
couple
thumbs for
flourish.
you.
Yeah, a couple flourishes ones though. 2 of the many horns, which is interesting. I'm happy about the Compound of Fortune. However, I'm probably not going to use it anytime soon. I will probably save
Mm.
that. And the
Yeah.
reason for saving that is because I want to find out that if you have a prestige potion, are they stackable? So if I get a second one, am I able to put 2 on?
Yes.
And if that is the case, I'm wondering if it will be 5% chance, 10% chance, 15%, and so on and so on. And if so, that would
Can
be
stack. Yeah, you
if
can stack. It should be the case.
yeah. So
But
if
you can
they
actually check it
can,
with the compound of power.
so the Compound of Power
Or it
only
won't
works if you already have a prestige trait.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I could check if I had a prestige trait, but I do not have that on any of my horses yet, so I will not know.
Oh, I see.
But if I
Okay.
do
No.
happen to get a prestige
Alright.
on a horse by just 5% of a chance, then I can test it out. Unfortunately, I haven't been lucky enough for that. I do have a couple friends that are lucky enough, but they probably don't have 2 potions, if they do have any.
Yeah.
But basically, if I were to explain it, if I could have multiple of these, I could have a plus 30% chance by putting 6 of these potions, 3 on one horse and 3 on another. I'm not sure if that is quite possible though. I know you can like equip multiple flourishes. You can't equip multiple of the different ones, but you can have the many horns, which is the cosmetic one, and then like the flourish based one, which is very interesting. Not a bad pull though. Honestly, I'm not upset about that. I'm actually very happy about the coat color, and I just have to hope that I get the pattern too for one of my breeding projects when I get to that.
Yes.
Anyways, just for science, of course. Now that we know about that, there are a couple of these other like middle ground potions. So this one guarantees the parents' affinities are passed down, which means basically if I were to equip it to this horse, that means that wait, can I not see? Oh, I can. It just means that the racing traits, I believe, of this horse in specific and the personality trait will go into the full because I have that potion equipped. So it'll just take everything from this horse and put it on whatever fool I'm getting. But if I were to unequip that and put a different one on, it would just change the personality. So whatever it is, that can go on any horse. Coat color specifically, if I wanted the charcoal colors, I would put it on whatever horse I wanted on. For example, obviously I would want the Gale colors, the darkened Gale colors. So I would put it on this horse and then like transfer it to a chonk and so on and so on. Flourishes, obviously put it on a horse. I had the spectral flourishes one, ended up with that Nightingale. And like I said, that one I had the pattern, the coat color, and the spectral flourishes. So I had 3, and I just threw it on specifically the Nightingale I had and just bred it with a random Arabian because it wasn't going to take any of the traits besides the tail.
Yes.
But yeah, that's basically it for the potions. If we go to the inventory, we can see a better lineup of these potions that I own. So 2 or 3 5 stars, a couple of 4 stars, not very many 3 stars here. And it's kind of weird the Wild Flourishes is a 3-star potion, but I guess it makes sense because it's not a specific one. It's just going to give you any type. And then the personalities, of course, are 2 stars.
Yes.
Which I don't really care about the personalities. I am happy to have any type of horse.
I think it's a good thing because then you can change the personality if the horses that you're breeding with personality is
something you
not
do
your
not
favorite.
enjoy. Absolutely.
Yes, or have many of and you want a different personality.
Absolutely. All right, well, I think that's it for the potions. And I think it's time we go to the traits section, which is a headache in its own. But I did take the time to truly understand the traits and to understand what is going to become Star Equestrian in the future through these traits and how it's going to cause issues, how it's going to give players advantages, and so on and so on. So, starting off, which I believe we talked a little bit about earlier, we have every horse from the Legacy. They will start with no traits. That's just expected before any pre-update horses have no traits. However, if you breed it to a new horse, your new horse is going to be 100% going to have a trait. And so, based on whether you get a purebred or a crossbred, it is going to give you one trait. Let me go to the breeding screen. Oh, it kept my potion on there. Make sure to unequip your potions. Alright, so we have a purebred and a purebred here. By crossing these two, because they are different breeds, they are going to give you one or the other, and it is 100% going to give you a crossbreed trait. And what these crossbreed traits are is it'll basically be any random trait within that category. So if we go back to, there's a lot of menus and it's hard to navigate, so forgive me for a second. Here, no problem. There we go. Genetic traits. So if you go here, you can actually find all of the traits and like what they do. You have a chance of getting any of these crossbreed traits from a crossbreed breeding. So a Shire to a Frisian will give you any one of these, which there are a lot that are quality of life, and then there are a lot that will improve your racing times, your event times, and just in general scores and stuff. So a lot of these could really give you an advantage. And you might be thinking that, oh, well, this could be a really good thing, but also it could be a really bad thing. And the reason for that is because it's all based on luck. Any of these Golden Star ones are the ones that I have, and I've only gotten the all-rounder trait, and I have actually bred 2 separate horses, which should have given me random no matter what, and I've only gotten the all-rounder. So I don't know how lucky you gotta be to get certain ones, but this gives me an increased XP for all stats, which is a very good quality of life trait, because it'll make it a little bit easier to level up my horses. Yes. And you will notice that there's level 1, level 2, and level 3. So what that means is that your horse, when it gets a brand new trait, it'll always start at level 1. And the way to level it up is to breed that horse to another horse with the same exact trait. So in order to get it to level 3, you are going to have to repeat this process over and over until you get that level 3 horse with that trait, which is 6 breedings. Okay? That's a lot of breeding just to get it to level 3.
Yes.
And you can use other people's horses, but in order to find somebody with a common trait, it's going to be a little bit iffy to be like, hey, does anybody have this horse with this trait? It's going to get a little complicated, okay? Yes. So that's still 6 breedings. It might be across multiple players, but that is still 6 whole breedings. And assuming that your horse isn't a 4-star, that is at least 6,000 plus gems of breeding, okay? Now, we're going to get a little bit more complicated here. This horse right here has the 1 trait, which is a crossbreed. And I bred that horse a couple of times and so on until I got the where is it? this little guy, and he now has a purebred trait too, okay? And this foal has the always gain minimum 5% score on a line modifier in events. And the all-rounder trait, because the horse from before passed down its trait, right? And it's still level 1 for both of these traits. So if we go back to the trait menu, and that's the wrong one. Wait, is it? It's hiding. There we go. We go back and we check out all the purebred traits now. We'll notice a difference in the two traits. The crossbreed traits offered a lot of XP-based traits. However, there were a couple that were like racing and events. However, the purebred traits kind of give a little bit more event and racing and stat changes, okay? Not to say that XP isn't a focus on purebreds, but if we look at these level 1s to the level 3, this is a drastic change. It's 15 plus.
It's an actual stats change.
Yes. So your actual stats of your horse will go up and beyond. So now it's not a matter of, do I have a level 100 speed horse? And do I have level 100 tech? So I have a 200 speed horse. You could be doing stuff with your 200 speed horse, and for some reason, somebody can be faster than you because they happen to have these leveled up traits. Now you're dealing with 215 speed horses. Now 15 speed doesn't seem like a huge deal, but it is. It does just make a enough.
Big difference.
It is just enough of a difference to be noticeable that all of a sudden, all these horses you spent thousands of hours training and putting effort into are eventually going to be obsolete. They are not going to be good enough. You are going to have to just guess what the difference is between your horse and the other people's horses when doing leaderboards or events. There's only so much tech and stuff that you can use to improve yourself, but things are going to be less skill-based and they are going to be more luck-based from now on. It's not going to be right away. It's going to be a while before we get to this point.
It takes time. But it's very unfortunate, though.
It is very unfortunate. I do agree. And here's the one purebred trait I have, which is the close alignment one. And what this one does is basically it will ensure that when I mess up a jump slightly, it will ensure that I at least hit a minimum of a certain percentile, meaning that I can be sloppy in events and still manage to get a magnificent, meaning that it's less skill, right? It's more just trying to be fast and less skillful, because whatever these skills or traits do, they will make it so I won't have to worry about these things as much as other players that need to focus on that skill level versus me who would have this skill. So it's not very fair. And then I have another one, the Drift King, which is on my Luminous, and it basically makes my speed boost from drifting last 1, 2, or 3 extra seconds based on what level it is, meaning that I am slightly faster in racing because these speed boosts last that much longer.
Yes.
Which is unfair in racing completely to these other people's. And these are actually a little bit more of the tamer skills. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to share my entire screen for a moment. And I am just going to pull over this little tab here. Hopefully you guys can see that okay.
Yes.
I organized the skills here for blue meaning purebred and green meaning crossbreed. And basically all of the XP based skills are completely quality of life. They do not affect us in any way besides maybe like making things a little bit easier, like leveling up horses, or making things just all around a little bit less annoying with how long it takes to level our horses. Now, the event-based skills, the traits, these ones will change how your events work. They will change how like fast you can do stuff or how much how much you can mess up, and the game will allow you to still get that magnificent and so on. So these will make it so it's less skill-based and more luck-based. And then we have the racing-based ones, which will basically make it so you're faster in racing, and so on and so on. And then we have the unharmful skills, Moneymaker and Time Trial Purist. The Moneymaker one gives 30% more gold, which is very nice. I would almost like put it in the quality of life stuff.
Yes.
Like, that's a great trait to have. It is nice to make money. It is not causing any issues for anybody that you are making money faster than anybody else. Like, that's fine, because we already have the dust gold, we already have the ranch bonuses. It's just adding a little bit more. It would be very nice to have that skill. The time trial one just gives you a little bit more time in the time-based trials in events. Why it's unharmful is because you have to be fast anyways, and it doesn't matter how much time is left on the clock. It just matters how fast you are, right? Then we have the harmful skills. And why I have these in their own category is because these ones basically give you extra stamina, they give you extra speed, extra acceleration, and so on and so on. You can use these skills in races, you can use them in events, you can use them in the overworld. They are going to affect everything. Okay? So those are it for the skills and the traits. And if we just want to do a quick overview on some of those harmful ones I mentioned. For example, hyper focus, I think it was. Where is it?
I saw it was down.
There. Hyper focus basically adds +3 on level 1 to all your stats. Not a big number. However, it's all your stats. Every single one.
It makes a huge difference. Yes.
+6 and +10, the higher the level, is even worse.
Yeah.
It is a huge trait. And then if we go to early bird, this is an event-based thing. In your first event lap, you gain 20+ speed to your stats. How is that even fair? You are right off the bat faster than anybody else because you have this trait. And it goes up to +50.
That whole lap.
It's only for the first lap, but that's still a mega head start. And it's also for the final lap if you have the other one.
Okay.
So leaderboards are not going to be safe. You will, if you do not have these traits on these fully leveled horses with your fully leveled tack, somebody will always be better than you. And unfortunately, it's just luck-based. You have to have these stats. You have to have the right breed. You have to have the means to make a horse that can do this. And it's so expensive to do this that it will be impossible unless, 1, you are a big money spender, or 2, you have a way to get gems constantly. For example, the big racers, the people at the top of the leaderboards, and so on, right?
Yes.
So
that is unfortunate.
It's very
and it's
unfortunate.
Not fair then.
It is making it incredibly difficult for free-to-play players. Just like right off the bat, this is something that's going to make it really difficult for those free-to-play players. So now the potions are a good thing for free-to-play players because they don't need to do all these summons to get these fantasies. They just have a chance of using these potions through normal means. However, to use these horses and not have these traits and the means to get these traits, all of a sudden it's going to get really difficult. So now we go to the prestiging, okay? So for the most part, the prestige traits are fairly cosmetic, which is fairly good. It is nice to have these cosmetic changes. For example, you have special hoof prints, you have like special auras, sparkles, effects, trails, and so on. And then you have the less cosmetic things, like 15% extra gold in events. That's quite nice. It's not affecting anybody to have that. It's a good thing to have. Then you have the less cosmetic stuff. Like, if you score 80% on a jump, it counts as perfect instead. That right there is crazy.
Yeah.
It
Because
is
there's a huge
basically
difference between 80% and
100. It's a huge difference. So it just means that for those super high modifiers on events for show jumping, you can be so much more sloppier with a ability like this. It just makes it that hard. And then gain +5 to all stats for each piece of tier 5 tack equipped. That is 20 plus to all stats. That is actually insane. And that's if you hit level 3. And the prestiges are pass downable. So once you have one, you can just keep passing it down and then pass it to a full. That will just be your absolute machine of a horse. So let's say you have these 20 plus stats, and then you have the purebred trait, right? The one that gives +10 to all your stats, right? I've already lost it. The hyper focus. That's already +30. And then you get a crossbreed trait on top of that for extra speed. Sorry, not extra speed. That is XP based. For like, where is it? Most of these are stamina based, I think. But like, let's say you have that +30 and then you can recover your stamina 30% faster on top of it, or gain 30% more stamina when drifting during a race, and so on and so on. Most of the crossbreed traits are actually fairly safe, but some of them aren't, like have unlimited stamina for the first 5 seconds of an event, or first 20 in the case of level 3. You can have an absolute machine of a horse and you would be untouchable. Just because you have the gems and the means to do so. Again, it's luck-based, but at the same time, these are things we need to worry about right now before it becomes an issue, because it will become an issue. Right now, it's not a huge deal because everybody's just getting into it. Everybody's trying to figure out what everything does. It's almost to the point that I low-key don't want to get into all these prestiging things because it's so confusing and worrisome. But at the same time, I almost want to get a head start and get these traits just so I am not in a position in the future where I'm going to be sitting there like, why can't I catch up to anybody else?
Yeah. You won't be able to compete.
You just won't be able to.
So one would need to be very clever about how you go about your breeding. It's not about just breeding anymore.
It's not just about breeding anymore. Sure, you can get horses you want easier now. However, getting these traits on those horses is going to be so much more complicated. And whether you start off with a fantasy or not, it's going to be very expensive.
Yes.
Which I think I forgot to say, but like, if you think of all these traits just being on a normal horse, the problem is what if it wasn't on a normal horse? What if you bred, or you went back to that 50-50 of a night glow to a shroud, and you happen to get all 3 of those traits, those special traits, and you happen to get a shroud? Now you have a very fast horse already with 30 plus stats and unlimited stamina for the first 20 seconds of an event, plus the prestige with the other like 80% outcomes of jumps. That is an absolute powerhouse of a horse. And
it's a monster.
You just can't compete. You just can't. Yeah. There's nothing you can do in order to be against that. And I mean, as you can see, both of these horses are fully leveled, but they will not stand a chance against a horse like that.
Yes.
It's just not possible.
I can understand why you're concerned. Yes, definitely.
There is so much to be concerned about. with this update. Not to say that I'm not looking forward to this. Here's something kind of crazy about the traits is that you can breed with other people's horses, sure. However, the prestige traits in specific, you cannot breed to somebody's horse to get a prestige trait. Even if their horse has a prestige, it will not give it to you no matter what you do. You have to just get that 5% chance for yourself, and you will not be able to help anybody else get it, and nobody can help you get it either. So you just have to do it on your own.
Yeah. But I can understand because we couldn't co-breed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had flourishes.
Even without
so with the flourishes, you couldn't. Okay.
You can breed to a horse with prestige. You just will not get prestige through that horse.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. You couldn't breed a flourished horse with another one.
You cannot.
Of the new ones. Okay.
You can breed your own, but you can not breed anybody else's.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing at least.
Yeah. It's very concerning. I'm very concerned about what we are going to turn Star Equestrian into over time. I'm a little excited
because in a year or two's time, it's going to look completely different.
I think so. And honestly, I feel like this would be better and we wouldn't have as much to worry about if we had a means to make gems. But
yes, we
still have no way of doing that. There is no increase. They have not added any new method to get gems. We can't earn it through photo contests. We can't earn it through treasure chests. We can't earn it through just like normal means. Like sure we can get it through like the weekly rewards and stuff like that, but you're only getting so many. You're really not getting that much. Like 20 gems or 20 from the rare chest and so on. Like it's not a good amount. It does not feel rewarding in the slightest. And I would say it is quite concerning because we just can't keep up. As free-to-play players, we cannot keep up. And even for just like people that are at the top of the leaderboards, we can't keep up with them either. Because at a certain point, they're going to catch on. They'll have gems and they'll have the means to make these monster of horses and level them up. And there is nothing we can do to prevent that. There is nothing we can do to go against it unless we make these monsters ourselves. But we can't.
Yeah.
We just can't unless we save up gems. But even then, that's 6 breedings to level up 1 skill. We have 3 skills that we need to level up. 3 different skills, and we have to manage to get the skill in the first place. So, it is so expensive. There is going to be so much time we have to invest in order to get that done. And I just don't see it being very possible. At least not for me. I can't see myself there.
So how do we change it, Thomas?
We complain.
Is there something that we can change?
I don't know if we can. Honestly, if we get enough people to complain, we can. However, it's just... I feel like as a community in SE, we are ignored a lot. I feel like we don't have enough chances to talk to the developers. I feel like we don't get enough information. We are neglected in that sense. And the only time that I felt like they really cared about their community a little bit was when they put a mercy on some of the banners. But even then, the mercy is so high that it is not achievable. And they've even removed the ability to see what that mercy is. So it's not very fun. It's actually very upsetting. And I've tried complaining. I've tried writing a formal letter. I've tried like getting any sort of communication through them, and I have gotten nothing back. I have not been taken seriously, and I don't know if complaining is going to get us anywhere, but we won't know unless we try. And unfortunately, the only way that we can communicate with them is either A, through their emails where we get sent to Jenna, who is not very communicative, or B, we can talk to them through like Discord. However, I haven't tried that, and I'm a little scared too, because I don't want to invade anybody's personal space, because at the end of the day, I would like to stay respectful.
Yes, no, definitely, always.
And unfortunately, the only time that I've ever like been in contact with the devs is through one of the biggest like Star Equestrian Discord servers, and in there we are very careful and told not to call out the devs for too much stuff, which is very hard to do when we are upset about certain features and stuff.
But
not everything can be positive, because there are issues. There are problems with these things. So the only thing we can really do is we need to adapt. We need to either spend money, or we need to just be very slow at progressing, which is where we're at and where we've been at for the last 2 years. It's just very slow progression and complaining a lot. But there's nothing we can really do. Good. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. It's really hard to feel good about a game that is very against you.
Actually, and it's actually such a great game.
It is. They have put so much into this game, and I can see where some parts are so well done and so enjoyable. And I've never played a game like it in the same sense that I can enjoy just riding my horse, leveling it up. I can feel the progression of all that. However, when it comes to getting new horses, the progression is so slow. It is so awfully slow that it feels very unrewarding to even attempt to get a new horse, or to get a new thing, or to breed new things, or to participate in these new mechanics like fantasy breeding, or these potions, and so on and so on. I would say the only time that it's really been kind of like a yay, new mechanic I can participate in is racing, when racing came out, because that was something you could actually get into. When the photo contest came out, that's something you could participate in. It was actually kind of fun, but you can only race so many times a day, and sometimes racing just isn't fun anymore.
It gets quite hectic.
Yeah, I've been racing a lot this week, but that's because I thought maybe I could have a chance at the new horse, but racing's been kind of buggy, and even then, it's saying it's the Forest Lord and not the new horse for me, so I don't even know if I want to try.
That's quite disappointing.
Yeah, and I've been off
I love
racing.
The Forest Lord, but I love this new horse even more.
And I already have too many Forest Lords, or had too many. I got rid of a lot, but yeah, it's kind of just like, do I really want to even put the effort into playing this game anymore because of it? But I think the breeding tokens and the potions are a little bit more rewarding and a little bit more something to work towards, and I do like that. But we need some other means in the game that is other than just sitting around waiting for racing or getting SP and waiting for the end of the week.
Yes.
We need a little bit more. And we need these issues to be talked about, and we need these issues to be noticed. Like, it seems all fun in games for now, but it's going to get really difficult in the future.
Yes, the impact is going to be huge.
Yep, it is absolutely going to be huge. And I know there's already people plotting and thinking, well, I want this, or I want that, or I can add this. And the more we learn, the more it's going to make sense, and the less people are going to stop messing around and actually start making monsters. Which isn't a bad thing. It's kind of cool, but it's also a really bad thing when everybody else just has these very basic horses that they are all level 1 and they can't progress very far because we don't have the means to do so.
Yes.
Sorry, I know that was a
Okay.
huge rant, but it was definitely needed to talk about.
Yes. No, I understand. Okay. Your final message on this update, Breeding Bloodlines.
I have been back and forth with this update. For one, I really like that I was able to guarantee a horse coat that was very hard to pass, no issues, with flourishes that I liked. I very much enjoyed that. I liked how easy it was. However, getting those potions again and having to wait until the end of the week was not very fun. And having the gems to breed the horse also. It was very fun as a trial to start off with like that 1 week thing that kind of gave us like the means to do all that. It was very nice. I liked it. I do like that we can have some sort of guarantee in order to get these coats that we don't have to try 20 to 50 times to get. It's a little bit easier. I like that a lot. It is nice that we have something of a guarantee in a game that is surrounded by non-guarantees and gambling. The traits update, I like some of the traits. I dislike others. I think that a lot of the XP traits and the gold traits, all of those ones are very nice. I enjoy them very much. However, I do not like the event and racing based ones. I'm sure they will help very greatly, but I also think they will give advantages to players that don't need those advantages. Then the bloodline based stuff, being able to look on our horse's history is very nice. I do like it. I do wish that we could see other players' horses and not just our own. That would be very nice. I do like the crossbreeding and the pure breeding new genes based stuff. I like being able to breed a 4-star to a 5-star and guarantee that I have that 5-star. It is very nice, and it actually makes me have to think a little bit about how I'm going to breed my next horse. And I like that. It is quite nice. Overall, this update has been very confusing, very complex. But now that I'm getting a handle of it, I do feel a little bit better about it.
Okay.
But there is still those worries. That will not go away. We'll just have to see how things play out. Maybe everything will be fine. And maybe everything will be chaos. We're hoping that we can adapt and overcome
it. One last thing. Do you think that this update might just ruin Star?
I really hope it doesn't. Honestly,
but that is why she is concerned. Yes.
If you do not have the Dragon Blood Mustang yet, I don't think you will get it. Once this update is fully through, I don't think you will get it. I just think it's going to be too impossible to even attempt to get it. And the reason for that is that now that these horses have these expanded stats, is the leaderboards, why people try the leaderboards so much is because they want the gems. And you already are struggling with that. However, you don't get any gems in first place. However, as a player who wants a Dragon Mustang, and you don't have those horses already, you will already be 15 stats behind whoever is up there, and they will overshoot, and there is no way you can surpass that because they are just that far ahead of you. There is nothing you can do to prevent that. So if you want a Dragon Blood Mustang, you should get it now before this update is fully processed through everybody and everybody has these better horses. I don't think leaderboards are going to be very easy anymore. I don't think they're going to be, I mean, they weren't easy before, but they're just going to be harder now.
Going to be harder, yes.
I personally will not be doing leaderboards anymore because I don't think it's very fair for me to take a spot on that leaderboard if it's taking away from somebody else. I feel really bad when I get up there and somebody else that doesn't have those items could have gotten them. So I will not be participating in any of the top 3 stuff anymore. Unfortunately, I do still need some 5-star tax, so I will be participating in the keys, but I do not want to be a part of the top 3 leaderboards anymore. Another thing is the racing. Top 100, it isn't too bad to get up there. You just have to have the right horses and the right traits. I'm honestly not too worried about racing because it's already luck-based in the sense you have to have the right traits, you have to have the right horse with the right traits. And
then be lucky in the race too.
Because there's rockets, there's short horseshoes, there's everything. So there's already so many variables. I don't think racing is going to be too much different. Besides, like, some of the traits that you can get that will make you invincible, like after a wipeout, like that's kind of crazy. That trait might have an effect. But for the most part, you already have to be so lucky with getting the traits and the proper horses that you're probably going to be fine, unless you're against like 100+ players that happen to have these better horses. It's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to be just fine. But leaderboard events, that's where it's going to be an issue. Racing, I don't think we need to worry too much. Like, if you're aiming for top 1, good luck. Sorry, Oak. But
don't let him hear you.
Yeah, no, he'll hear this. Sorry, Oak, but if somebody has a better horse than you, say goodbye to your first place. It ain't happening anymore. But that's only if your traits line up with the person with those like super good traits, which is probably going to be pretty rare. I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. I don't think it's going to mess too much with that. And if it does, it does. But I think everything will be okay in that sense.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to ruin Star Equestrian. I think everything will be okay. Unless they add on to the traits that exist.
Yes.
Again.
And unless we all get into this now and really understand this update.
Yep, absolutely. And I don't think everybody will. I think a lot of the experienced players will probably be the ones to expand on this, or any like new players coming in that want to get competitive.
Yes.
That's where I think it's going to matter most. But if I'm going to be honest, I can't even count that many players that are that competitive. Like, I honestly think things will be okay. But if this game does get popular, there's going to be some issues. I think
let's hope for the future that it's not going to be the case.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay.
Thomas, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us. We really enjoyed chatting to you.
Of course.
And thank you. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for letting me chat your guys' ear off.
No, always fun to chat to you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No
and we'll
problem.
chat again soon.
Awesome.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.